Hi there, YouTube, and welcome to my beautiful camper van. We call it the Elephante, and it's an ongoing project. And I just thought I'd go over some of the things that were harder for me to figure out. And today, I think we're going to start with the water system. This is a weekender van, so it doesn't hold 50 gallons of water. As you can see, it's a low roof. It's a stealth van. It's a Ford Transit 250. And I'll do more videos on the van in general and give you some ideas and some of the thoughts that went in. But this is my experience with our water system. So let me just show you how it goes. So here's our cute little sink. It is the main reason for having a non-potable water system in our van. We use a portable toilet, so if we're gonna use the bathroom or anything like that, it has nothing to do with this system. And we also use stainless steel thermos jugs for our potable water, and I'll get into some of those decisions with this system. But yeah, this is our most precious feature in the van. It's the most convenient thing in the world we've found, and that's just having the sink. It's right here by the side door, so of course you can open both doors and use the sink from the outside of the van, standing out there, or you can use it from inside. This is a little speed shot of the van. You'll have to excuse it's not the cleanest right now. But you can get an idea for what the 250 looks like. And this is the smallest full-size van, and so that's another reason why this water system looks the way it does. So the water system consists of a couple components. You have a fresh water tank, you have a pump, you have, in our case, a pressure tank, and then you have a gray water tank. So in our van, the fresh water tank is in the back, and really it's just a 2-gallon bucket. And so what you have here is we've just gotten some fittings from the hardware store, go through the bucket. You got a supply line that goes into the van for the pump. We got a pickup tube in the bottom, goes in the bucket. Like that. Bucket straps in. And you get a vent tube that goes up real high. So even when you drive like Mario Andretti, no water comes out of the fill tube or vent tube. That's the fresh water tank. So it's just a 2-gallon bucket, Home Depot, $8 or something like that. This is a budget van. It's all about using it, not about fit and finish or anything like that. So utilitarian build. And then I'll give you a quick look at the pump here underneath. This is just above the wheel well. We'll turn on our light down here. And there it is. Just takes the water from the bucket and ships it this way towards the sink. And then here, as you can see, the supply line joins to a T and feeds the pressure tank above, and this is a drain valve below that just empties into our gray water bucket, which is also just a 2-gallon bucket. And this is the drain tube from the actual sink bowl. So this stays open when there's no water in the system. When we fill it up, we close it, we prime it up. So you can see I just used some brass fittings and things like that. A lot of vans and campers don't have a pressure tank. They just run the water straight to the sink bowl, and you can do that. But as it turns out, the water pumps available that run on 12 volts that are inexpensive are really noisy. And even though you can do things to make them quieter, they're noisy, and I find it really annoying. So there's a couple advantages of the pressure tank. One is that it'll store pressure, and then you can run the water at a low volume for a while without running the pump. It'll just run through the system on the pressure that's been built. And how much time you can run the water without running the pump depends on the size of the air volume in the pressure tank. So I actually made a couple pressure tank sizes and ended up going as big as I could because it's just really nice to have that extra spring. And with the extra volume the pressure tank adds, it gives you the ability to fill more than just your freshwater supply bucket. Like ours is just a 2-gallon bucket. So with the pressure tank, we can now hold, I think it holds about 2 gallons in the pressure tank, 1.5 gallons maybe, and then 2 gallons in the freshwater tank. So now you're at 3.5 gallons. And again, for a weekender van, 3.5 gallons is more than I would have ever brought tent camping just to wash hands with. And that's really what this system is for. You don't turn it on, full blast and, sit there and wash your bananas and stuff. Not that anybody washes bananas. It's kind of a trickle situation like you were camping, but it's still, you're in the van, you're washing your hands, you're washing your dishes. And really 3.5 gallons lasts me, another person, and several dogs, several days washing hands and dishes and stuff like that. So here you can see the adapter. This is just a flat adapter on the bottom. And then on the bottom side is all the valving and that brass T that we saw down there. Couples into this PVC tube. I want to say this is a 2-inch or I don't remember what size it is. Yeah, 2-inch PVC. So this is a 2-inch PVC pipe, and it comes up to the roof of the van and then makes a turn. And this, again, I'm just trying to add volume to the system, and you can see it's actually plumbed at an angle upward to the back where it's just capped off. And what that does is the water gets pumped up into the chamber, it gets past the spigot. So about here it'll start coming out of the spigot. You flip the spigot off and you just let it build pressure, and it'll actually pump a volume of water all the way up into this column, compressing the air in that upper chamber. And it probably gets full to there. I'm not really sure. Maybe there. Maybe even more. Maybe there. But, and then I've got the pump on its own switch right here. So you can turn it on and run the system or turn it off. And then once it's pressurized that, I shut the pump power off. Once the system is pressurized, the pump will turn itself off, but I still turn the power off. And this means in the middle of the night, I can turn on the water in a campground or in a parking lot. Again, it's a stealth van. Half the fun is being able to have your own little hotel room right in the middle of a major city if you want. I'm in here brushing my teeth and, washing up. And then lastly, you've got your gray water tank, which is just the bucket, and we have the little hole in the bucket there. And that's for the drain tube from the sink. This goes down into the bucket, put the lid on it. The master drain valve here stays closed when we're pressurized. This is just to keep open when there's no water in the system, so it stays dry in there. And that's it. That's how simple it is. So some things to consider with a van build, and especially like a water system, is what you're using the van for and how much you want to work to do what you do with your vehicle. I could have built all of this into a much nicer, form-fitting, built-in type of situation. I could have spent more money on it. But that's not where we wanted to go. For us, the van's about leisure and taking it easy. And I would rather have buckets that are cheap, that I can have several of. And I even take a spare bucket with me full of water with a sealed lid on it if I want. I can put a 5-gallon bucket in if I want. I can dump the gray water in a toilet in a bathroom. I'm just carrying it in a bucket of water. And vice versa, I can take my freshwater bucket and fill it up in a bathroom, in a rest area. Nobody knows the wiser. Same with the portable toilet. You know, the tank's removable. It actually looks like a little briefcase. You can carry that right into a rest stop, dump it into the toilet there. I mean, it's these kinds of little things that for me makes the van easier to live in. If you have big tanks and they're built in and you need a sanitation station and tablets, and because you can't keep the water fresh and you can't keep the water changed and you can't see the tanks and how much is in there, all that stuff to me makes those kinds of systems really hard to use. And so even though this system is really little itty bitty mini with its 3.5 gallon capacity, it really performs because it's so versatile. And even though it only lasts a day or two before we have to redo it and fill it back up, it's so easy and portable to do that it's not a problem. We can always find some place to get to dump the old water and to get new water. So that's why we went with this small portable system rather than, a larger built-in tanks and stuff like that. It's also a budget build. The inspiration for this camper van came from a really old work van that I had that I just fell in love with. My wife and I drove it all over. She loved it. Loud exhaust, beat down, holes in the floor. We'd welded things closed, but there's just a freedom in not worrying about the vehicle itself, whatever. You don't have to worry about its appearance or people scratching it or dents or whatever. It's very low key, and we love that about it. And so this van's kind of like, hey, let's buy a brand new one. And cosmetically, we just won't invest in it at all on the outside. It'll be stealthy, and we won't worry about it. We'll scratch it up on trees. It won't put dents in it accidentally, and we'll laugh and live our lives and not have a worry. Again, $100,000 camper van build. I think those are amazing. I just don't have $100,000, and if I ever did have that kind of loot to drop on a van, I probably wouldn't want to use it. I'd be afraid to scratch it or something. So yeah, that's our freshwater system. That's my take on why it's designed the way it is. And I look forward to the next video where I can tell you guys more about the van.